Hey guys, just wanted to go over the rest of the solution tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. This will be a short video. There's another one coming hopefully tomorrow night. I want to give you guys another level, and we want to go on to level 2 if you cannot complete level 1. That is something that we're going to be working on this week. I am running behind. I mean, there's just no real guess or by gosh about that. I mean, it's just life in the fast lane here with everything else going on. So I've had changes at work, we've had changes at church, and stuff like that. So I want to talk a little bit about this diagram right here, because what we went over last week and everyone nailed down really well. Shannon turned in some work a while ago that was pretty close to the real solution. But I just wanted to walk over some stuff with you and show you guys two things real quick. Is that here is the rest of my code for touch object. Are we touching an object? Of course, the cool thing about this is we can check for touching any object, and all we have to do in our check objects is to see if we touched an object, and if we touch the object in check objects, and all we have to do is put in a reaction. So we want to talk about reactions, and we want to talk about how we calculate if we're touching something. Well, last week we did 6, 4, 2, and 8. So we did the 4, but we didn't do these guys. 9, 7, 1, and 3. So what I wanted to do is like on 9, and I'll show you 9 here first since the code is right here. At 9, remembering that this is X, right? And this is Y. That for 9, I wanted 3 sensors across the front of the car, and noting that this was about 80 over, okay? And so here's X and Y. Here's the 0, so about 80 over, and Y not going down any was our first point. So we're looking right here at this point to see if the car is hitting an object. And then we said at 100 we would go down 20, okay? And then we said at 120, which is the size I have my objects, we would go down 40. See how I did that? I had to draw myself a picture, so I just got in Paint and I drew myself a picture first and saying, where are those sensors going that direction? So then let's look at 7. So here's X and Y right here. Here's X. And here's Y. So the first thing is I didn't let X be anything. So X was 0. Look here. I said X plus 0. And I just left it there because X plus 0 doesn't do anything to mess up my code. I just needed to lay things out correctly. You see what I'm saying? So I said X plus 0. And then I said down 40. There's my first one. And then I said over 20, down 20. There's my second one. And then I said over 40 and down 0. So I had these 4 pictures here. And so let's go over 1 just to make sure I got it right. Direction 1, we're coming this way, so the first thing, X is 0, so on 1 I said X was 2, there's one of them, X is being 0, I said 0, 80, so there's my first one right there, and then I said 2100, I just didn't list them in order, so there's that one, and then I said 40 100. So I said I would go over 40 and down 100, and that price should be 120 because that's that bottom corner of that square. I mean, it's like right over, so down here. I'm just curious, could I actually mess with this? I was just seeing if I could. Welcome to my tests. Oh, wow. So now you have a big version of me. Now you have a small version of me. I just wanted to see if I could do that. All right, cool. All right. So then we had to look at the reaction. So when we came up here and did hay bales, I'm looking at the hay bales here. Oh, look there. I have an extra character. That's not good. I wanted to check my reactions. Now, these are bad reactions as far as I realized my code was backwards, but then I didn't fix it. So this will give you an example where you make a mistake, and I left the Y's in this column and the X's in that column because that's just the way I copied the code. So you have to really pay attention here because in our mind's eye, these are backwards. Shannon taught me this today. Shannon was the only one that got really close to this. So I say I want to go back 20 over 20. So let's think about this. If we hit a wall, we're going back 40. But if we hit a wall straight on, or a hay bale straight on, we're bound. If we hit a wall, we just say we totaled the car. So, but if we hit a wall, I mean a hay bale, then we bounce back 40. But if you hit it at an angle, you kind of slide off of it. So, you know, you like going, okay, so if we're going direction 1, and I hit a hay bale here or here, there's going to be a general direction of the car moving along the hay bales. And so I just decided to have it go straight, equal, and opposite. That's probably not really true, but we can come up with some rules here to get our physics engine right? We would have to know, oh, okay, if we hit on this one, then we're probably going to go probably this way. And if we hit on this one, so I just said, let me go back 20 and 20. But since it's an angular impact, let it be a little bit less. One of the things that I saw that on Shannon's code, when you hit a hay bale, and I thought this was very interesting. I'm going to bring Shannon's code in. You don't want to hit a hay bale in Shannon's game. So he's hacking 5 off the field if you hit a hay bale. So he's like, oh no good for you. So I'm like going, dude, way to go, Shannon. You got all this laid out correctly, and I verified that. But up here, once we touch the hay bale, we have to figure out what the reaction is. Up here, if we won, now we can win from any direction. So I wanted to test this. Let me show you one more thing I did before I tested this. And that was, oh goodness, Timothy having okay, let's play refresh. So let's play refresh. I just saw it. Yeah, okay. So normally I would say feel is equal to feel minus 0.25%. I'm going to give myself a little bit more time to play here. Okay, so this is how I gave myself a little bit more time to play, just so I could sit here and say, you know, is it working right? So we're going to take a look at this here. So we're going to run the greatest game that's ever been written. For me, anyway. And oh, I'm running Shannon's code. Wow, how about that? So I did that to Shannon's code. So we're going to test Shannon's stuff here. I'm going to say done. So if I hit a hay bale, of course, with Shannon's code, I'm going to be sorry. Woo! So you see Shannon's code here. You hit a little bit late. But, you know, Shannon, you worked really hard on that. So let me run my code and show you what mine looks like. His actually runs a little bit cleaner than mine. I've got to figure out a few more things. There's a difference in between Shannon's code and my code, which is really kind of interesting. And Shannon, you're the only one that went off and went and programmed this without the answer key. So pretty intense. Here goes mine, right? So 5 and 5, my name is 5 and my level is 5. And we're going to get a new course here. But you can see, for some reason, when I ran out of gas anyway. Oh, because I made the change to Shannon's code, not mine. So I'm going to put Shannon's code back to 0.25 and go back and change mine. There's a couple ways you can get around this. 380, come on. All right. Oh, 0.25. And the other thing we can do here is, if we want to, we can just say play is equal to 0, right? Because if play is equals to 0, then it's not going to go automatically, right? So now we're going to get a bunch of gas. It's going to last forever. And we're not going to get auto repeat. You with me? I'm not expecting us to get auto repeat. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to run mine. Done. So there's my car. Oh wow. I wasn't expecting quite that, but I'm going to see if I get... Oh, see that? That doesn't work very well at all, but you can see where you hit. Interesting. All right. So that's one way to try and look at. Obviously, I have to get a message box out there to make that work really well for me, but we'll just do it with less gas. But if you really wanted to narrow down on it, you'd want to have play go to 0 and deal something with that message box. But some interesting results here. I'll show you this because I have lots of gas now. And I don't charge 5% of my tank. So I can tell where I'm hitting, right? Kind of hitting right on that corner. And tested getting that from the side. That seemed to work. And then I should be able to win coming at an angle, and oh, I hit the wall. But we guys see, and if we gonna try to hit the wall at an angle, and if you hit the wall at an angle, you can see exactly where that code is killing you. And so you can see where I'm hitting the wall and I die. So if I go like this, I'm going to play again. and probably playing with the wall will help you see where I'm dying there. See, that's exactly where you want to die right there. Because when we get accelerators going, that's where it's going to be. So give yourself some extra gas, test, and of course don't worry about dying. We're just testing this code. So we're going to test up here, going this direction, and we're going to see where we die. See how that code, that matrix code works. And it's all based upon going back to this. Drawing yourself a picture. And then I just drew one picture. I copied it and I pasted it in there. I used, when I did a paste, I did you can rotate it after you select it. And I drew the picture inside. I just pasted it out, and I'm like going, well, it's kind of like this. And that helped me set up a consistent base of numbers that I can come in here and say, well, even if I hit on the bottom, I'm expecting to hit right on the corner of the line if I hit at an angle. So if I hit 3, I was expecting to hit the angle, and so 3 is not giving me what I want. You see what I'm saying? I can look at 3 right there and say, that ain't it. So I can test my code and hit a brick wall. So let me try 1. So I'm going to try that. Oh, this is 3. Okay, 3 does that. Let's see what 1 does. Okay, so we're going to come over here and do 1. And 1's doing about the same thing. So I'm wondering what's going on with 3 and 1. And it might be just where our bitmap is off down there. But let's go take a look. Let's just double check that real quick. Because it seems to be working on the top and the bottom, but if our bitmap's a little bit off. Another thing we can do real quick is it's still up, so let's do this. Let's just see if we're good this way. I finally got that stupid pause off. So I can try it this way. Ooh, so that hit a little bit different right there too. So our bitmap may be off. Let's see how it is this way. Because we can fix this. Possibly. Let me see. Okay, so the bitmap looks a little bit big for the field. That's kind of what it's looking like right now. Let's go back and double check our code. So, so if that's the case, it would also do that dead on, right? So let's look at 1 and 3. I think we were doing a 9 at that time, and 9 was also doing the same thing. And we've gone over these numbers. I think that's definitely 80 plus 0. So that's saying a 9, 80 this way, and 0 that way. That's that corner or that corner. Interesting. Let's just see what we have here. Okay. Boom. Boom. That one works pretty good. That's hitting that right on. Let's see what this one's doing. That's right on. That's right on. That's gonna be right on. Okay. So it is our code. because obviously there's nothing wrong with 1 and 2, and I mean with those directions. How about this one? Okay, that is stopping. See how that's stopping a little bit short? So we might have to adjust our bitmap a little bit on the downside, but we have to look at the code also, because look, if I come down at an angle and I come down, yeah, it's about the same. So we might have to look at the bottom of the field being too deep, but that's a simple resize of the bitmap. And we have to look, so let's look at 9 one more time. Okay, 80 that way plus 0. So if 80 over from there to 0, it sends something. And then at 100 plus 20, if it sends something, then 120 plus 40 if it sensed something going in 9 directions. So that should work. But when we're just going the 6th direction, what are we doing up here? Oh, see how we're using 110 up here? And we're using 120 down here. So how about we just use 110? And how about we use 90? You know, just back the whole thing off a little bit. And how about we use 70? I mean, we're using 110 up above, so let's just use the same number down here. And that's 9. And for 1, let's do the same thing. 90. And then that is a 90. And let's stop the field while we do this. And then let's do 70, right? This is Control Z. No, we were doing 3, right? Control Z. And down. Okay. Let's do 3. That was 110. Okay. And this was going the X direction. What are we using going the Y direction? We'll have to play around with the direction equals 2 to figure that out. But there's 110. There's another 110. Let's see what that does. Okay, again, you just go through it, you find ways to test it, you give yourself more feel, and then you sit here and say, is this right? So obviously I knew 6 was working, so I'm looking at 6 and saying what is 6 doing. So, and then we'll see how this reacts here. We have lots of gas, right? So that's a little bit more accurate, right? Okay. Let's see what it looks like here. That seems to work. Okay, and we still have a problem down here. But anyway, you guys just fine tune this stuff. Take a look at it, and we will talk to you a little bit later. I'm going to build another field for us tonight or tomorrow, and I will be giving you guys another video on how to, once you pass level 1, then let's take you on to level 2. And then I wanted to also talk about maybe adding another kind of object. So that's just an FYI. But we're going to build a new field tonight. or tomorrow after work, and then I want to give that to you guys. So we'll be looking at levels after this. So might want to be looking at your code. I'll show you more about levels this week. But this is the end of this solution. Go ahead and finish your touched objects. Go ahead and test it to where you actually know you feel pretty good about it. I'm going to do some more testing myself. There's a couple other things I want to clean up. But I just wanted to show you what my whole testing and research methodology was as far as, how do you know touch objects is working? And sometimes you have to just modify your code to be able to test a massive retrofit like that. But now we can tell pretty much where if anything touches the car, we can tell what's touching it and react to it. And we can come up with some different objects. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to put my code back, because otherwise I'll never run out of gas and we won't have a challenging game. So I'm going to put that back, and we will catch you guys later, and hopefully I won't get addicted to my game and play it all night, because got to build a new field, right? So anyway, wanted to do a level 2 and a level 3, see if we can get it this maybe a little bit more ridiculous. But we'll catch you all, and then hopefully tomorrow night I'll release field 2 in a methodology of putting up a field 2. So we'll catch you in a little bit. All right.